sensation. Pain? I'm alive? That's odd. I don't feel alive. What's going on? I have no memories of anything before this point in time. My mind is tabula rasa, yet I have a language. I seem to be in some laboratory of sorts. Maybe I can find out what happened if I look around. A torture device turned into a strange machine. What kind of place is this? My very first memory is waking up on this thing. Before that, nothing. I wonder what I am. Books. A lot of natural philosophy and chemistry. Something by an M.W. Shelley. Now's not the time. There's a handwritten note here. Maybe it can shed some light on my situation. There's a screwdriver in this toolbox. Better take it. It looks like the legs of a frog hooked up with wires. And I'm pretty sure it moves when I'm not watching. A human skull or a paperweight. I'll call it uric. This oil looks expensive. Let's waste it. It's a brain in a jar. I wonder what it's thinking. I have no idea what's inside of this, but it glows. Ooh, surgical tools. Shiny. I love magnets. The door won't budge. It seems to be barred from the other side. I might be able to unscrew these hinges, though. That is one ugly gargoyle. Looks like a George to me. The screws on these hinges are rusty and stuck. I need some lubricant to loosen them up. I smeared some oil on the rusty screws. That should loosen them up. I'm free! What a dedicated knight to guard a damp dungeon like this. Maybe he was demoted. Maybe he likes the dark. Maybe he's secretly a poet. I bet his name is Roland. Hello, Roland. Another piece of paper. This was written long before the last one. It looks like someone has been sleeping quite a lot in this sorry excuse for a bed, and it was hardly the suit of armor. But why would someone choose to sleep down here? There's a long stick here. Perhaps it was used to try to chase away rats when trying to sleep. More writings from the lonely doctor. Another locked door. Let's take a peek through. It's the key I'm after. I can't reach it with my hands. I wonder what I can invent to retrieve it. The stick is long enough to reach the key, but how will I grab it? Look, I can attach the magnet to the end of this stick. Another locked door. Let's take a peek through. Let's hope this works. Aha! Just as planned. I got the basement key. More letters. Has he figured it out yet? A couple of cogwheels on the floor. They must have fallen off the mechanism when the door slammed shut. I wonder if I can put them back. Nothing happens. There are some minuscule inscriptions on the wall here. What a strange door. No handle or keyhole. It seems to have some sort of opening mechanism. Oh, I know, it's a secret entrance hidden behind a bookshelf. Only I'm on the other side of it and see only the back of the shelf. This is the nail from which I skillfully lifted the basement key. A big and heavy candlestick. It looks like there used to be two of them. It's a mortar, and a pestle too. They seem to belong here, but I'll remember where they are in case I need them another time. The label says Dr. Wolfram von Trauerschloss. So this is the man who brings the dead back to life. He looks as though he would have been handsome once. It's warm. I haven't realized until now just how cold my body is. The doctor is losing it. He's just scribbling down nonsense by now. What will he do if he ever acts on his wild suspicions? A beautiful china bowl. It looks hand-painted. The name on the plaque is Lucas von Trauerschloss. This must be the ashes of Wolfram's son. I wonder where the other candlestick is gone. This story is so sad. I don't even know if I want to read this one. It's the body of Dr. von Trauerschloss. He's dead. And what's more, he's been murdered. But who could have done this? There must be some clues around. The missing candlestick. And it seems to be the murder weapon. Blood is flowing from a wound in his skull. I wonder if he was alive when he was killed, or if he was just a mechanical cadaver like me. There is no clockwork or artificial parts that I can see. But how can you tell? The back of his head has been cracked open by a heavy blow. He couldn't have seen the attack coming. He was dead before he knew what happened. So he trusted his assailant then? Was it me? I have no memories from my life before. Maybe it was I who killed him. But then, how was I brought back? There's something in his pocket. It's a small, delicate key. He kept it in the pocket closest to his heart. I wonder what it unlocks. There's a letter clutched in his hand. His final words? Or a clue left by the killer? These are the hands that give life. Talk about meeting your maker. The body is still warm. He cannot have been dead for much longer than I have been alive. Did he have to die for me to live? This letter is signed Belladonna. I've been waiting to hear the other side of this story. This room looks completely abandoned. I suppose this is what happens when you're down to a skeleton crew of only one maid, no matter how fantastic she is. Another journal page. This one has drops of blood on it. It's snowing outside. I have no concept of the current year, season, or even geographical location. Those are a lot of gargoyles. Leupold, Brunhilde, Arthur, Maya, Lena, Ismildor, Ether, and Yosef, in that order. It's an old clock. Tick-tock, tick-tock. One more Belladonna letter. Let's read about this Clara figure. There's a bottle of milk out here. I wonder how long it's been here. At any rate, it's frozen completely solid. No wonder in this cold. This must be the family cemetery. Yet, baby Lucas rests in an urn in the dining room. Why is that? It says, Snowflake the pet cat. How cute. The stone is so old and the name is worn off. The tombstone says Clara Stieber. This must be the grave of the wonderful maid I've heard so much about. I can't help but notice that it's been emptied. A note. What a marvelous mausoleum. The plaque says Francisca Canosa. I wonder who she was. 2 statues of angels. It seems a bit paradoxical to create statues depicting something that's supposed to be immaterial. Let's call them Justifer and Phi. Yes, those are indeed boxes. More letters. Can someone tell me what happened to poor Clara? A plant, a natural object, standing in a pot, a man-made object. The plant can consume nutrition and grow bigger, and the pot can't. Neither of them can think. So what about me, then? I can think, I know that, but am I natural or man-made? An ordinary pot with some dirt in it. Isn't this a perfectly sufficient tool for creating beautiful life? This lantern might prove to be the very first thing that actually manages to shed some light on my situation. I'll keep it. Nothing inside. Belladonna. This little plant has caused a lot of trouble. For a flower, it's not particularly beautiful, but for a murder weapon, it sure is. Look, a journal page was hiding behind the plant. It's a large tree. Looks very peaceful. Couldn't I have been reincarnated into one of those instead of being forced back into this mess? I'll let it stand by the fire for a while. Let's grind this plant into powder. It's thawed. The milk is now in liquid form. The milk pours easily. That's a lot of books. Imagine you had books filled with every possible combination of letters. I wonder how much room they would take. There's a finite amount of letters, but unless we acknowledge a maximum length of a word, there would still be an infinite number of combinations, and the library would have to be infinitely large. A stuffed raven atop a bust of Pallas Athena. What a cheerful decoration. Let's call them Annabelle and Dupin. Look, a perfect sphere. Let's see if I can get two parallel lines to intersect. The doctor's handwriting. I know it well by now. I should sit down and write a story. But with all these journals and diary pages lying around, seems like I already may have. Look at all these old toys. Wind-up dolls, music boxes, and mechanical trains all around. I think this used to be a private hobby of the eccentric Dr. Wolfram's, before he got into the whole corpse business. Another portrait. It says her name is Francisca Canosa. It's the same name I saw in the mausoleum in the cemetery. I wonder how she relates to the von Trauerschloss family. I'm not going near that horrible cat. I'll have to get rid of it somehow if I want to proceed. What an abhorrent cat. It looks at me with pure hate in its eyes. What's that thing it's playing with? I'm not going near that horrible cat. I'll have to get rid of it somehow if... Okay, so I can give delicious milk to my fearsome adversary, but why would I want to do that? This creature has nothing but scorn for me. it would just take my milk and keep attacking me afterwards. Unthankful thing. Is this how Clara died? Yes, this should put an end to the grim reign of this beast. Look, it's a key, and it has a funny tassel attached to it. No wonder the cat wanted to play with it. The animal must have managed to steal a key somehow. Thaw the milk, grind the leaves, poison the cat. That was a lot of work to inspect this rather uninteresting ladder. This is strange. This is Belladonna's signature, but the handwriting is just wrong. The door is locked. That's a big wardrobe. I bet you could hide a corpse in there. Actually, I better not open it and check. Let's take a look inside. The lid is shaped like a heart and has a tiny keyhole. Whatever's inside must be very precious. I wonder if this key fits. There's a key hidden inside. A very important one. Coils of rope. I wonder why we're keeping rope in the bedroom. The mirror is completely shattered. I think someone in here didn't really like their reflection. Is she dead? She doesn't move a muscle, yet she sits upright. She's like a mannequin of human flesh. At least the view is nice from up here. A note.
Clara, it really is you. I was so certain I'd never see you again. You didn't wake up.
I woke up. I've been wandering lost ever since, trying to find out what's going on.
How are you feeling? Do you remember me?
I have no memories of you, or of myself. But I found some notes lying around. I can only assume you're the one called Belladonna?
I am Belladonna, murdered and reanimated by Dr. von Trauerschloss. At first a mindless mechanical doll, but I slowly regained control over my brain. And when the time was right, I broke free.
I saw the doctor's body.
Yes, I crushed his skull. Standing over his blood-soaked remains, I was free at last.
But where did I come from? If he was dead, was it you who brought me back?
Yes, my love. You were the only thing on my mind as I stood there, alone and victorious. I had secretly watched the doctor's process, and I desperately wanted to believe that I could get you back. I unearthed your grave and carried your dead body down to the laboratory. I did everything right, to the smallest detail, but you didn't wake up. And my time was running out. I can't turn my own key, and now that I was alone in the castle, I knew my life force would run out quickly. But for all my effort, you remained dead, and with no one to keep me vital, I eventually sat down here and just stopped.
But I did wake up.
Yes, apparently you did. Your body had been in the ground for quite some time. Perhaps that made the reanimation process slower, but with your key powering your brain directly, you did not have to go through the drawn-out, sluggish wake-up. I take it your cognitive powers and language have been with you from the start.
Well, yes.
Excellent. Then I have even improved on the doctor's method, but I doubt independent thinking and free will was ever in his interest to reproduce.
Do you think you could do it again?
Create more of us, you mean? Yes, I hold the secret of life and death, and I plan to use it. The experimentations must continue.
And the two of us will have no place in this world.
Quite right. So, we'll make us a place. Dead bodies will never be in short supply. We'll make more of our kind, a whole new race of the damned.
Where do we start?
I know for a fact that there's a fresh body lying out there in the Great Hall.
The doctor.
His flesh, at least. We won't be using his wretched brain. I've already destroyed it in any case. But the body will do. We will have to find a few other ingredients. Will you help me?
Of course I will.
Thank you, my love. I'll carry the body down to the laboratory and start with the preparations, and in the meantime you can help me with a few other things. The doctor's brain is completely destroyed. I made sure of that. I don't think any of us want his villainous brain back amongst us. We're going to need to find a new one. Secondly, we will also need some clockwork parts. We have to manufacture a force to keep the dead body going. Thirdly, not only the brain, but also the head and the cranium were damaged. If we can find a new head, that would save a lot of the reconstructing effort.
I saw a brain preserved in alcohol down in the laboratory.
Oh, you did? That's good. That, my dear, is the brain of baby Lucas.
Your son?
Lucas was never buried. The doctor had the body cremated very quickly and thus incinerated all the evidence that the corpse was not complete. He'd stolen the brain and kept it for himself. I don't know what he claimed about not planning on resurrecting his child, but the truth is that he kept the brain all the same.
And now you want your child back?
No, my dear. It's just a brain. I wanted you back, so I took great care to preserve your personality. But this brain is young and has been dead for very long. I suppose the creation will be my child, in a way, but not my son Lucas.
Clockwork?
Yes, we need something to supply the body with the force to move. We can't make the heart beat again, so we use the spring-loaded clockwork. In the future, we'll have to think of a source of parts more reliable than salvaging old-time pieces, but that'll do for now.
I see.
Thank you.
Will we need to find a fresh human head?
Yes, I've smashed up the head of Wolfram rather frivolously. I'm afraid it's beyond rescue. I was thinking of my grandmother, Francesca Canosa. I'm sure you've seen her portrait in the study. She was buried some time ago, but her cranium should be sufficiently preserved. She rests in the mausoleum in the cemetery outside, but there is a hidden way into the tomb behind the armor in the basement.
Your grandmother. Will it not cause problems to attach a woman's head to a man's body?
No, I don't see how it would make any difference in this new race of ours. We do not even reproduce sexually, so not even that significance is relevant.
What do you mean we don't reproduce sexually? How do you know?
I spent quite some time with Wolfram dead and mindless, you know. I can safely say that, though we do experience all the physical sensations of intercourse, we cannot become pregnant or bear children.
I see. I'll go take a look behind the suit of armor.
Thank you.
Will we need to find—
Yes, I've smashed up the head of Wolfram.
Was it Francesca's portrait I saw in the study?
Yes, Francesca Canosa was my grandmother. My family moved to this country several generations ago. My father, named Hugo, gave me the name Belladonna to allude to our ancestry. I was the last of the Canosas, and I acquired the name von Trauerschloss through marriage. And now I'm not very concerned with human family names. We will not reproduce in a mother-daughter kind of way, so what use will we have of family names?
I'll go take a look behind the suit of armor.
Thank you.
Some things have been puzzling me. Did I used to have hair?
You had beautiful hair. Unfortunately, I had to shave it all off in order to operate on your head and open your cranium.
Yet, you're not bald.
I was revivified directly after my death, when my body was still fresh. You, my dear, had been in the ground for quite some time. I had to reconstruct large parts of your decomposed corpse.
That explains the metal construction holding together my skull.
I have my fair share of screws and bolts myself, but they are carefully hidden. I opted to sacrifice your pretty hair so that I could work more on preserving your brain, something the good doctor did not do for me.
Will it grow back?
I don't rightly know. Maybe. We'll have to wait and see.
I want to ask something else.
I'm here for you.
What is this I'm wearing?
I'm so sorry about that. I covered you in scraps and bandages I found in the laboratory. I had to cut open and discard most of what you were buried in order to stitch you up. I want you to know that my plan was to be right next to you when you woke up, to help you understand and to find a proper dress. I'm so sorry it didn't come to pass like that.
On my way in here, I killed a cat. It was in my way and it felt so natural to just dispose of it. It worries me a bit.
How so?
I may have a functional brain, but what about a soul? Shouldn't there be something in me stopping me from hurting others? Or at least making me feel bad about it?
You're right. It did come very natural for me to murder my husband. But I'm not too worried about this. I have no desire to commit unnecessary killings, and I do have control over my actions.
What if you're raising an army of cold-hearted mass murderers?
They won't be mass murderers any more than you and I. And besides, why should we prioritize the lives of the living above the lives of the dead?
I want to ask something else.
I'm here for you.
Why did you put this wind-up mechanism in my head? Yours is in your back.
Yes, the damned doctor had placed my wind-up mechanism in my back. It goes straight into my chest and heart, giving me a strong central of power. But it is placed outside my own reach.
So, you can't turn it yourself?
No, I can't. I have to depend on others. That's why I chose to put the key in the back of your head, well within reach of your own hands. I know what it means to not be in control of your own existence, and I will never put someone else in the situation I am in.
Thank you.
Of course.
I want to ask something else.
I'm here for you.
I'll start looking for the objects then.
Thank you. Come talk to me if there's something you're unsure about.
That makes no sense. This faithful screwdriver will do the trick. Time to turn this old clock into a slightly peculiar wardrobe. Belladonna was right. There is a secret switch behind Roland the poet. It's too dark down there. I won't see my hands in front of me unless I light the crypt up first. I can't just drop the lantern into the hole. It's gonna break when it hits the bottom. If there is a bottom. I'll just tie this rope to the lantern. Yes, I can lower the lantern into the hole. Amazing. I must be directly underneath the mausoleum in the cemetery. I can't believe it. It's another letter. How did it end up down here? Here's Francisca's coffin, but the lid is much too heavy for me to lift. Maybe I could break it open, but I'll need some sort of big hammer or mace for that. Another angel. Are you the third sibling? What did you do to get put down here? Is your name Gwendolyn? The things one does for love. You look very peaceful, but I do so need your head. How shall I remove it? With some surgical tool from the laboratory, perhaps? Now to carefully remove the head. It's remarkably well preserved. I'm so sorry. Looks like Belladonna has dragged the body down to the laboratory already. The body of a deranged murderer, the decomposed head of an old lady, the brain of a small child. How could this possibly go wrong?
Welcome to the lab of horrors.
I have Francisca's head.
Well done. Just give it to me and I will attach it to the neck.
I took some parts from the old clock.
Well done. Let me put them into the creation.
I have the brain.
Well done. Please give it to me.
I found something else in the crypt. Another note. One I'd written myself when I was alive. I think we need to talk.
What is the matter, dear?
It's just... forget it. It doesn't matter. Let's focus on what we're doing here.
Yes, let's get this creation moving.
I'll get going.
Thank you, dear. Thank you, dear. Thank you, dear. The creation is complete. All we need to do now is force life into these dead limbs. That big switch on the wall initiates the procedure. Will you have the honor, my dear?
Gladly. The time has come. I've wanted to pull this thing since the first time I saw it.